My beloved child. Stop scrolling for just one moment, because the story you are about to hear is a work of fiction, yet it carries emotions that may stay with you long after this video ends. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Nobody expected that morning to end the way it did. The wedding hall was glowing with flowers, music, and smiling faces. Every chair was filled. Every camera was ready. Every heartbeat seemed to move toward one unforgettable moment. The groom stood quietly near the altar. The bride was only a few steps away. Everything appeared perfect. But then, a woman suddenly stood up from the front row. It was the groom's mother. Her hands were trembling. Her eyes were filled with tears that no one could understand. Without saying a single word, she slowly walked toward the center of the ceremony. The music faded. The guests fell silent. Even the bride stopped walking. The woman looked around the room, took a deep breath, and spoke only one sentence. Stop this wedding, we cannot continue until we find the person my son truly belongs with. Every person inside that hall froze. No one understood what she meant. The bride looked confused. The groom lowered his head. The families exchanged worried glances. Questions filled the room. Who was she talking about? Why would Because what happened next changed every life inside that building. Weeks earlier, the groom's mother had noticed something strange. Her son had everything people dream about. A successful career. Supportive friends. A beautiful future. Yet every evening, he sat alone by the window, holding the same old photograph. He never explained why. He simply smiled, and quietly placed it back inside a small wooden box. One evening she finally asked him, "My son, who is in that picture?" He remained silent. Minutes passed. Then he whispered, "The person I never stopped loving." Those words stayed inside her heart. She knew her son. She had watched him grow from a child into a man. She knew the difference between temporary affection and lifelong love. From that day forward, she began paying attention. Every time someone mentioned marriage, he smiled politely. Every time wedding plans were discussed, his eyes lost their light for just a second. Only a mother could notice something so small. Only a mother could hear the sadness hidden behind a forced smile. But she said nothing. She waited. She prayed that time would heal what she could not see. Instead, time revealed an even greater mystery. One night, she accidentally found a handwritten letter tucked inside one of his books. It wasn't addressed to anyone. It simply began, "If life ever gives me another chance, I hope I find the courage to return to the one person who made my heart feel like home." No name. No address. No explanation. Only hope. At that very moment, she realized something no one else had seen. Her son wasn't preparing for a wedding. He was preparing to say goodbye to the love he never forgot. Stay till the end. Because something huge is waiting for you. The following morning, she quietly searched through old family albums. She looked at forgotten memories. Birthday photographs. Graduation pictures. Holiday celebrations. Then, one picture slipped from the album. It landed face down on the floor. When she picked it up, she noticed someone standing beside her son. A smile unlike any she had ever seen. Not because it was perfect, but because it was peaceful. She had never seen him smile that way before. On the back of the picture, only 3 words had been written. Always believe together. No names. No dates. Just those 3 words. Something inside her heart whispered, "This is the person." But where were they now? Did they know how much they had meant to her son? Had life simply carried them in different directions? Or was destiny quietly waiting for the right moment? Days passed. The wedding preparations continued. Everyone celebrated. Everyone laughed. Everyone believed the future had already been decided. Everyone. Except one mother. She watched her son becoming quieter each day. She watched him forcing happiness onto his face. She watched him pretending everything was fine. Then, the night before the ceremony, something unexpected happened. She entered his room. The lights were off. The window was open. He didn't hear her. He was softly speaking to himself. "I hope you're happy, wherever you are." Those words shattered her heart. She finally understood. This wasn't fear. This wasn't doubt. This was unfinished love. The kind that quietly survives every passing season. The kind that never asks for attention, yet never disappears. That night, she made a decision no one would expect. If there was even the smallest chance that the person her son truly loved could still be found, she would find them. No matter how impossible it seemed. No matter what people would think. No matter how long it took. Because sometimes, a mother's greatest act of love is refusing to let her child settle for a life without genuine joy. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As sunrise filled the city, wedding guests gathered. The ceremony began. Everything looked perfect from the outside. But hidden beneath the celebration, one heart carried a truth too heavy to ignore. Then came the moment that stunned everyone. Just before the vows, the groom's mother stood, walked forward, raised her hand, and quietly said, "Please stop." The entire room became silent. No music. No whispers. Only the sound of hearts beating in complete uncertainty. She turned toward her son. He looked into her eyes. For the first time in many months, he didn't pretend to smile. Instead, a single tear slowly rolled down his face. And in that silent moment, his mother knew she had made the right choice. But what happened after the ceremony stopped? No one inside that hall could have imagined. Because someone was already on their way. Someone who had absolutely no idea that an entire wedding had just been paused because of a love story that refused to disappear. Who was that person? Why had fate chosen this exact day? And what secret would finally be revealed when their paths crossed again? Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because in the next part, the search begins. And every answer will lead to an even greater mystery than anyone expected. The silence inside that wedding hall felt heavier than any words could ever describe. Every guest remained frozen in place. No one reached for their phone. No one whispered. No one dared to interrupt what was unfolding before their eyes. The groom's mother slowly turned toward everyone gathered there. Her voice remained calm, but every sentence carried the weight of years. "I know this decision surprises all of you," she said gently. "But a marriage should never begin while someone's heart is still searching for another home." No one argued. The bride lowered her bouquet. Instead of anger, there was sadness in her eyes, as though deep inside, she had already sensed that something had been missing all along. The groom couldn't speak. He simply closed his eyes. A tear slipped down his face. His mother walked to him and quietly placed her hand on his shoulder. But the groom's mother had already made her decision. She wasn't going to leave without finding the truth. She returned home that evening and opened an old wooden chest she hadn't touched in years. Inside were family photographs, birthday cards, travel tickets, small keepsakes that most people would have forgotten. As she carefully sorted through them, something unexpected slipped onto the floor. It was a folded piece of paper. Its edges had faded with time. She unfolded it slowly. Inside was a simple handwritten message. "If we ever lose our way, I hope life is kind enough to bring us back together." There was no signature. But she immediately recognized her son's handwriting. Her heart raced. This wasn't just a memory. It was a promise that had never left him. She looked again inside the chest. Hidden beneath the letter was another clue. An old bookmark. On the back was the name of a small bookstore in another town. It wasn't much. But it was the first real lead she had found. Without wasting another moment, she decided to go there the very next morning. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As dawn arrived, she began her journey. Every mile reminded her why she refused to give up. People often say mothers know their children better than anyone else. She wasn't searching because of curiosity. She was searching because she believed true happiness deserved one final chance. Hours later, she arrived at the bookstore. It looked almost exactly as it had years before. The owner welcomed her warmly. After listening to her story, the elderly owner smiled gently. "I remember a young man who came here often," he said. "He always asked for books about hope, second chances, and finding courage." The mother's heart skipped a beat. "Was he alone?" she asked. The owner nodded. "Most of the time, yes. But every now and then, another person came with him." Her breathing became heavier. "Do you remember who?" The owner thought for a long moment. "I never learned the name. But I remember one thing. They always left smiling. They treated each other with such kindness that everyone in the shop noticed." The mother looked around. She felt closer than ever. Yet the answer was still just beyond reach. Then the owner disappeared into the back room. Moments later, he returned carrying a small box. "I've been keeping this for years," he said. "The young man told me that if anyone ever came searching with genuine love in their heart, I should give it to them. Her hands trembled as she opened the box. Inside was a silver key. Attached to it was a tiny note. It read, "The final answer isn't hidden in the past. It's waiting where two promises were first made." She stared at the message. What place could it possibly mean? What promise? And who was waiting there? Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As she stepped back outside, her phone suddenly rang. It was her son. His voice sounded different. Calmer. Almost hopeful. "Mom. I had a dream last night." She listened carefully. "I saw the same place again. The old Riverside Bridge. The place where everything changed." Her eyes widened. The silver key. The mysterious note. The dream. All of them were pointing toward the very same destination. Could this finally be where every unanswered question would find its answer? Without saying another word, she turned toward her car. The engine started. The road stretched ahead. Somewhere beyond the horizon, a meeting that had been delayed for years was about to happen. Neither of them knew that destiny was already preparing the moment. And when those paths finally crossed, nothing would ever be the same again. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because the next part reveals who is waiting at the Riverside Bridge, and why one forgotten promise has the power to change every heart forever. The road to the old Riverside Bridge felt longer than ever before. Every mile carried another unanswered question. Every passing moment made the groom's mother wonder if she was already too late, or if destiny had simply been waiting for this exact day. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The morning mist covered the bridge, making everything look almost untouched by time. The gentle sound of flowing water filled the silence. She stepped out of her car, holding the small silver key tightly in her hand. Her heart was racing. She slowly walked toward the center of the bridge. Then, she noticed someone standing at the far end. The figure wasn't moving. It simply gazed over the river, lost in thought. For a brief moment, she couldn't breathe. Could this really be the person her son had carried in his heart all these years? As she moved closer, the stranger turned around. Their eyes met. Neither of them spoke. Instead, there was a long silence filled with recognition. The groom's mother softly asked, "Have we met before?" The stranger smiled gently. "Not face to face. But I know exactly who you are." Those words sent a chill through the quiet morning. How could someone recognize her without ever meeting her? Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The stranger reached into a small shoulder bag and carefully removed an old envelope. It had been protected for years. "This was meant for your son," the stranger whispered. "I never found the courage to send it." The mother's hands trembled as she accepted the envelope. It was unopened. Untouched. Still carrying the hope of another time. She carefully unfolded the letter. Inside were heartfelt words filled with gratitude, forgiveness, and hope. There were no dramatic promises. No grand declarations. Only one sentence stood out above everything else. If our paths ever cross again, I hope we choose honesty before fear." The groom's mother closed her eyes. Now she understood. The distance between them had never been created by a lack of love. It had been created by silence. Years of silence. Years of believing the other person had already moved on. She looked back at the stranger. "Why didn't you come back?" The answer came quietly. "I thought he had found happiness. So I stepped aside." And every year after that, it became harder to return. The mother's eyes filled with tears. At the very same moment, her phone began to ring again. It was her son. His voice sounded different. "Mom. I don't know why. But I keep feeling like someone important is very close." She smiled through her tears. "You've been listening to your heart all along. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you." Without revealing everything, she simply asked, "If you had one more chance to tell that person how you truly felt, would you take it?" There was complete silence on the other end. Then came the answer. Without hesitation. "I would never waste that chance again." The mother looked toward the stranger. The stranger had heard every word. A quiet smile appeared. Not because every problem had suddenly disappeared, but because hope had finally returned. The mother gently handed over the silver key. "I believe this belongs to you." The stranger examined it carefully. Almost immediately, they recognized the tiny symbol engraved on its side. "I know this key. It opens a memory box. A box we promised never to throw away." Both of them quickly made their way to a small lakeside cabin that had remained locked for years. The key turned effortlessly. The old wooden door slowly opened. Inside, everything had been preserved exactly as it was. A bookshelf. 2 empty chairs facing the window. A journal resting on a small table. And on the wall, a framed photograph taken years ago. The same peaceful smile. The same unforgettable moment. Nothing had been forgotten. The stranger quietly opened the journal. The final page carried one handwritten promise. "No matter how many seasons pass, if life gives us another chance, may we have the courage to recognize it." The groom's mother smiled. This chance has finally arrived. But before anyone could say another word, a familiar car slowly pulled into the driveway. The engine stopped. A door opened. Footsteps echoed across the wooden porch. Someone was finally here. The groom had followed his heart. He had arrived without knowing who was waiting inside. The door began to open. Every heartbeat seemed to pause. Would this reunion become the beginning of a brand new chapter? Or would years of unanswered questions still stand between them? Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because in part 4, the long-awaited meeting finally happens, and the truth hidden for years is revealed in a way that no one could have imagined. The wooden door moved open ever so slowly. No one inside the little cabin spoke. The sound of quiet footsteps echoed across the old floorboards. The groom stood in the doorway, breathing heavily after following nothing but a feeling he could not explain. For a long moment, he simply looked around the room. Then his eyes stopped. They rested on the one person he had never truly forgotten. Time itself seemed to stand still. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Neither of them rushed forward. Neither of them spoke first. Years of silence could not disappear in a single heartbeat. Instead, they looked into each other's eyes. Every memory returned at once. The laughter they once shared. The dreams they once planned. The promises they believed had been lost forever. The groom finally whispered, "I never thought I would see you again." The answer came with a gentle smile. "Neither did I." The room remained silent once more. But this silence felt different. It no longer carried regret. It carried hope. The groom's mother quietly stepped back. She knew this moment no longer belonged to her. It belonged to two hearts that had finally found the courage to face each other. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The groom slowly reached into his jacket pocket. He removed the same faded photograph he had carried for years. "I never stopped keeping this," he admitted. The other person looked at the picture and softly laughed through happy tears. "I still have the other copy." For a brief moment, they both smiled. Not because every question had already been answered, but because they realized they had been holding on to the same memories all along. The groom lowered his head. "There was not a single year when I forgot you. I just believed you had chosen another path." The reply came gently. "I believed exactly the same about you." Both of them stood in complete surprise. How many years had been lost? Simply because neither one believed they were still remembered? The groom's mother quietly closed her eyes. Sometimes the greatest distance between two people is not measured in miles. It is measured in words that were never spoken. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The old journal still rested on the table. Together they opened its final pages. Between them was a folded piece of paper neither of them remembered leaving behind. The paper contained a simple list. Not dreams of wealth. Not promises of perfection. Just small hopes. Always be honest. Always choose kindness. Never let fear make your decisions. If life separates us, never stop believing that tomorrow can surprise us. Both of them smiled. Years had passed. Yet those words still described exactly who they wanted to become. The groom looked toward his mother. "I understand now. You didn't stop my wedding because you wanted to control my future." She smiled warmly. "I stopped it because I wanted your future to be built on truth." A peaceful silence filled the cabin. Outside, the clouds slowly began to clear. Warm sunlight poured through the windows. Everything felt brighter than it had only hours before. Just then, a car pulled into the driveway once again. This time it was the bride, accompanied by her family. The groom immediately walked outside. Everyone wondered what would happen next. Would there be anger? Would there be blame? Instead, the bride smiled with quiet grace. She looked at the groom and said, "Thank you for being honest before it was too late." She turned toward his mother. "I understand why you did what you did. Then she added something no one expected. Every person deserves the chance to build a life with someone whose heart is fully present. Those words brought tears to many eyes. There was no bitterness. Only understanding. Only respect. Only hope for everyone's future. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As the sun began to set, the two families stood together near the riverside. The tension that had filled the wedding hall was gone. In its place was peace. The groom's mother quietly looked toward the sky. She smiled, knowing that sometimes the bravest decision is also the kindest one. The journey had never been about stopping a wedding. It had always been about uncovering the truth that had been hidden beneath years of silence. And as everyone prepared to leave, the groom gently reached for the hand of the person he had never truly forgotten. This time, neither of them let go. The road ahead was still unknown. There would be conversations. There would be healing. There would be new beginnings built slowly, one day at a time. But they would face the future together. And everyone who witnessed that unforgettable day understood one timeless lesson. Real happiness is never found by pretending. It begins the moment truth is spoken with courage, kindness, and love. Thank you for staying until the end of this fictional story. If this journey touched your heart, remember this message. Never let fear speak louder than honesty. Sometimes one heartfelt conversation can change the direction of an entire life. And sometimes, the ending you never expected becomes the beginning you were always hoping for.